Hello guys, today I am back with some new things about manifesting. I was just talking about that yesterday, and I want to talk about manifestation in relation to depression, but first I'm just going to talk about it in general and talk about what I've learned over the past few weeks when I've read about it. I think it's a new way that you can bring things into your life that you want, and it's not like the typical setting goals thing and going through with them. It's more like using your subconscious to really believe that it can happen and getting there without like consciously trying super hard. Make sure you watch the video to the end or even skip to the end to know how to apply this to depression. So what I wanted to talk about today was scripting. The general idea of that is just knowing what you want and writing it down in a certain way and then reading it over and over again over the course of like a month, and then just putting it away and then going about life knowing that you intended for this to happen and kind of working your way there. But the thing about scripting versus just setting goals is that you are less likely to fall back into your old habits and old mindset and losing motivation. The first thing you want to do when you're scripting is be clear about what you want. You don't want it to be super vague. You want to know exactly where you want to be and what you want in the future. And the thing with scripting is you should start with a few, because if you're writing too much in your letter, it's going to get all messed up in your mind. It's going to be a long sort of thing and you can't focus on any of them. They'll be less likely to happen. You should also make sure that these goals or places you want to be are realistic. You don't want to have so much doubt that you're thinking about how it won't happen all the time. You have to believe that it could happen, and even if you have a little seed of doubt in your mind, it's easier to pull through this if you believe that there is a chance that it can happen and that is realistic. So you can make a list of the things that you want, pick like 4 or 5 or less, whatever you want to do. And then you write how it will make you feel when you get those things. So this would be like being grateful or happy or thankful or whatever it might be. Write down how you'll feel and what you're going to do when you get there. The thing about emotion is it has this energy and it sends out energetic signals that will pull towards you what you want. So feeling good things and imagining good things will bring those things that you want closer to you. When you're thinking about the way you'll feel, you have to really imagine what it's going to be like and believe that it could happen. So when you write these things, you believe that it is already you, and you're kind of tricking yourself into believing that. So the thing about writing these things with strong emotion is every time you read it and every time you think about it, you're putting your mindset into that situation. You're kind of throwing your mind into it. So you're imagining it and you're bringing yourself closer to it. Thing is that the universe responds to this energy. So by just thinking about it and imagining the future that you want, you're already closer to getting there. The next thing you gotta do is just write your letter. First thing that you should do that I've read about is write how thankful you are to a higher power, whatever you might believe in, God or goddess, the creator, the universe, anything that kind of aligns with your beliefs. Thank them, be grateful, and appreciate what you have. And you're writing this in a sense that what you want has already happened. So kind of thank them for bringing you there. And the next thing is writing about what you want as if you already have it. So you're writing, I am grateful that I have found the job that I want, my dream job, or have the caring and loving friends that support me in everything, having the perfect spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend, all of these things you can write down, but make sure you're writing it in the present tense. And the next thing right after you write those things is writing how you will feel. And you already like thought about this and wrote it on a separate sheet of paper, so you should just be transferring this onto your letter. So after you get down all the things that you want and how you'll feel after you get them, make sure you close up your letter by thanking them again for what you have, and then you can sign the letter off and be done. But the thing you got to do next is read it. So I have read that you want to read it multiple times in the next month. Some suggest reading it daily or reading it twice a day when you wake up and when you go to bed, whatever works for you. But you have to make sure that you're reading these things with emotion. You're not just going through the motions of reading it. You don't want to be like, oh, I have to do this before I get out of bed, I'm just going to read it really quick. You really have to bring yourself to the place you want to be every time you're reading it. So going through the whole thing that I talked about before, about imagining it and feeling what it's like to be there. The thing about imagining this thing is it attracts things with the same vibrational frequency as you. So if you're thinking happy things, if you're thinking about a positive future, positive things will be attracted towards you, because it's kind of like attracts like, or positive things attract positive things and negative things attract negative things. So what you gotta do when you're thinking about this future that you want is stop thinking about your mundane present life. You have to think about the future and kind of change things up in your life as you go. You don't want to be thinking about where you're at and how boring it is or what you don't have. You want to be thinking about the future and what you can have and working yourself towards it. So after you've read all of this daily for a month or so, you want to just let that go. Put away the piece of paper, kind of forget about it. But what you've just done is you've set the groundwork for your goals. The difference between this and other goals that you might just write down and be like, oh, I want to achieve this, is that those goals, sometimes you tend to lose motivation. You know, when you make those New Year's resolutions, you're like, I'm going to get fit this year, I'm going to exercise, and like you might do that for a few weeks or a month, and then you lose motivation and you stop until the next year. The thing about laying down this groundwork, writing this letter and reading it over the month is that you'll be less likely to lose this motivation, because it's already ingrained into your mind that you're going to get there and you are going to take the steps to get there. You don't want to go back to the way that you were at before you wrote this letter. You're basically transporting yourself to where you want to go. You really don't want to doubt that it'll happen. You don't want to be reading this letter like, I think it won't happen, or anything like that. Like, don't start feeling desperate for this thing. Be grateful for what you have and take it day by day. You'll get there. It doesn't matter if you'll get there in a few months, in a year, in like 5 years. You'll get there if you believe it will happen and if you've taken the steps to get there. So now I'm going to talk about how this can be applied to depression. It's basically the same as what I've been saying. It's believing that you can get out of depression or anxiety or your little loop. You're kind of down in your little rut and you're thinking, will I ever get out? This is so bad, you know, and you tend to expect that the next day you'll wake up feeling just as miserable as you did the day before. And because you're expecting this, you're thinking that it's going to happen this way, it will tend to go that way. And I have watched a few videos about this. There was this one girl that said one day she just decided that she's going to get out of it, and a few days later she just woke up and it was completely gone. And I feel like that's an extreme case. Like, it's not just gonna happen like that. But the thing that like you really have to take out of that is that she decided with certainty that she was going to get out, that it was going to go away, and she wasn't going to stand for this anymore. I feel like the biggest thing that's standing in our way when we're depressed is the hopelessness, the loneliness, and everything that makes your optimism go down, because when you're depressed, you see everything in a negative way. And like I said before, negative things attract negative things. So when you're hopeless and not seeing a brighter future for yourself, you're actually bringing towards yourself more depression and kind of perpetuating this cycle. So using this method, you can start believing that you can get out of depression. You can write down the things you want. When you get out of depression, you can write that you are going to and how you feel when you're out. Like, write down the best day you could possibly have without depression. Write that in your letter. Say your thank yous and all that. Read the letter over and over again for as long as you want, and then put it away and work towards that. Try having a more positive mindset. Remember that you truly believe that you can get there, and you'll see little changes over time. It might not be like that one girl who said she literally woke up one day and it was gone, but you could write in a diary and see how over time you feel better and better. I personally have not particularly used this method thinking about it like consciously, because I didn't know about it then. But when I look back at the times I was depressed, it was like I had started doing things that I thought would get me out of depression. Like, I started having a solid schedule. I started going to school, just forcing myself to do these things. And I believed that doing these things would help me out of depression. I feel like that kind of goes along with this because I believed that it would help, and so it did. I have been free of depression for a while now. I think it's been like more than a year, which is pretty good. And it's mostly because I've never really thought that it would come back. I feel like the second you expect something in your life to push you back into depression, you're kind of opening the doors for it to come back. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is you should keep a more positive outlook. You can be a little sad for where you are now, but you have to start believing that you will eventually get better. And by truly believing this, you will start getting there. And by using this method, by scripting, like I've talked about, you can boost yourself. You can help yourself get there faster and start enforcing that belief in yourself. So that's my little method to get out of depression for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you liked it. I will see you guys in the next video.